In this short video, I'm going to show you just a few of the insights that can be taken from our growing network of footfall sensors. I'll show you three things: how you can benchmark individual stores' sales based on footfall levels, how you can use footfall data to optimise operational models, and how to find the best available space for a new unit or relocation. Firstly, in this main screen, you can see the spread of our current network, and each dot resembles a location in which we currently have live devices. I'm going to choose Kingston upon Thames today, which currently has 20 sensors in live operation. Here I can click to add locations of all the businesses in this area, and I can also map my units on top of this data. So here I am. The coloured shapes represent the areas covered by a footfall sensor, and the colour varies dependent on footfall volumes in that micro location. So we're going to look at the closest sensor to this store here, which is the sensor at Marketplace. At the top of this screen, we have a graph on a week-by-week basis for footfall for that location, and below are the daily and hourly breakdowns for each selected week. We're currently looking at the week ending the 29th of October 2017. What's interesting about this location is that we can see that each day has a very similar pattern of footfall, be that a weekday or the weekend. And there's a small peak around lunchtime from about 12 till 2 p.m, which might suggest some additional lunchtime trade. However, this is a fairly quiet location with maximum passing footfall under 1,000 people per hour. Next, let's take a look at our second store in Kingston, which is over up here near the train station, and we've got a sensor right near it at Castle Street. So what's interesting here is just a few streets down, and the footfall is again similar on the weekday and the weekend, but it is much higher, with the peak almost 3 times that of the footfall at Marketplace. However, it's not just the commuters going to the train station that are passing this store. Footfall is pretty much constant throughout the majority of the day, from around 11 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m. every day, apart from a Sunday where it starts to decline a little bit earlier, around 3 or 4 p.m. What's important to consider with these two stores is how they both perform in terms of relative footfall. Whilst the Castle Street store may bring in more revenue, it's key to assess sales performance relative to footfall levels, as the Marketplace store may be converting more passing footfall and therefore performing just as well or better than the Castle Street store. And it may have smaller rental costs, therefore potentially resulting in higher returns. You can also use this data to optimise your operational models in terms of opening hours and staffing levels, swapping staff from your Marketplace store over to Castle Street during peak hours, or modifying opening hours on a Sunday. You can also go back in time to track how footfall is changing. Maybe you've recently run a marketing campaign which impacted the footfall around the store for the past few weeks, and again, have your sales reflected these changes? Access to the heat map will also provide you with data on 100 towns and cities where we currently have sensors, which can be really valuable when deciding whether to relocate or open a new site. You can also map other LDC data onto the heat map to identify vacant units within an area, which you can then map onto what the trends are within that area if they're appropriate for your brand. So that's been a very quick overview of some of the insights you can take from the heat map. Firstly, comparing two stores and benchmarking sales dependent on levels of footfall to understand performance better. Secondly, understanding footfall for individual stores to optimise operational models. And finally, finding new locations where footfall peaks are appropriate for your brand. I hope that's been insightful, and please do get in touch if you'd like to find out more about the heat map or our footfall sensors. Thank you.